Hey yo! Hey everyone, Skylynx here bringing you another video review. And today we're going to be doing the Infinite Crisis. Take a look at that there. Now, the Infinite Crisis can be very intimidating, especially to new readers. That's because you need a lot of information going into the Infinite Crisis. A basic understanding and outcome of the Crisis of Infinite Earths is needed. Reading at least some of the prequels can help out a lot. But not all the prequels are good, and you don't want to spend your money on all of them. So if you had to pick one, I would choose picking the OMAC Project. It's actually a very good story, and it gives you basic understanding of what's happening during the Infinite Crisis. And the next thing that can make the Infinite Crisis very intimidating is the story itself, because there's a lot going on. So that's where my job comes in. I'm going to sort through all the mess and give you guys a basic understanding, so you're more comfortable reading it. After the Crisis of Infinite Earths, there were 4 survivors mainly. There was Superman and Lois Lane from Earth 2, which was the Golden Age. There was Superboy Prime from Earth Prime. And then there was Alexander Luthor, who was the son of Lex Luthor from, I believe, Earth 3, where actually our superheroes, Batman, Wonder Woman, Flash, etc., were evil and Lex Luthor was the hero. Now, each of them live in this paradise dimension, where they get to watch this new Earth, which I'll be referring as New Earth, although people refer to it as Earth 1, but we'll refer to it as New Earth. They're in this paradise where they're watching New Earth grow, seeing how their superheroes start, interact, live, and decision-making that they do. And they're pretty disappointed, because with all the heroics that they went through during the Crisis, these heroes are basically just not going through the right motions. I mean, take the Trinity, for example. Wonder Woman killed someone. Batman doesn't trust anyone, seeing that he got his mind wiped. And Superman can't lead for shit. He's a horrible leader. Hell, he could even play the first level of Lemmings and get them to the ending. That's how bad of a leader he is by now. And with that, the Justice League of America was destroyed. So they're basically just pissed off that all the sacrifice they went through really didn't mean much. So all of them kind of returned to New Earth to kind of set things straight in their own minds, with the exception of Lois Lane, who is kind of dying. Now, Superman from Earth 2 is hoping to show everyone on this Earth what it means to be a hero. However, Superboy Prime goes to this Earth because he's mopey because he misses Earth Prime. He misses his girlfriend, his family, everyone else, and he's basically pissed off at the world, especially at this version of Superboy, which is Connor Kent, the New Earth Superboy. And Alexander Luthor is the big culprit in this, because where he's not necessarily evil, he has misguided attention. See, he wants to create the perfect Earth, and he'll do anything to get it, even killing people, even killing a dimension to get a perfect Earth. He's kind of trying to do the right thing, but at the wrong time and with the wrong means. Now, he creates this big fucking tower, and it's from the remains of one of the beings from the Crisis of Infinite Earth. I think his name was the Anti-Monitor. I don't remember. And he takes superpower beings like Power Girl and Martian Manhunter and Black Adam and hooks them up to this machine to power it up. Now, the basic premise is what happens to these 3 individuals when they go to New Earth, and what does their effects on New Earth mean to the superheroes there. Let me just give you a basic rundown. Superboy Prime goes basically crazy because he gets into a fight with New Earth Superboy because he's jealous of New Earth Superboy. He doesn't feel like he's representing the name Superboy correctly. So he accidentally kills a few people. He accidentally kills a few superheroes, and he goes loco. Okay, so that's Superboy Prime. Superman from Earth 2 starts to turn around, but he has this big climactic fight with New Earth Superman. He basically trashes New Earth Superman, because for some reason, if a Superman gets older, he gets stronger. That's just how it works. So the younger you are as Superman, you're weaker, but as you get older, you get stronger. Eventually, he starts to realize when New Earth Superman said, you know, a perfect Earth doesn't need Superman. And he joins up with New Earth Superman to help stop Alexander Luthor and Superboy Prime. There's a big climactic fight against Alexander Luthor and a bunch of the superheroes. And it comes to a point where Batman almost kills Alexander Luthor. Now, I'm not going to give you the full ending, because the ending is quite satisfying. However, there are a bunch of big fights. This is a big comic, big event comic. That means they're going to have 2-page spread fights, tons of superheroes dying, tons of supervillains dying, an outcome that you may or may not like, but it's a satisfying outcome. It really rectifies some of the things that the characters were going through. I'll take Batman for example, because I review Batman a lot. But Batman was going through a very dark time in his life. Because of this, he decides to take time off to rediscover himself and to become the Batman again, only better. Another example would be Wonder Woman. She gives up the title of Wonder Woman so that she can rediscover Diana, the Amazon. And Clark Kent loses his powers as Superman for some arbitrary reason that I forget. But he gets to rediscover Clark Kent and gets time off to rebuild himself up. You get to see a little bit of that in 52. That is a direct sequel to this. Now, the Infinite Crisis can be intimidating and can be very confusing if you don't know what's happening when you go into it. However, there's a bunch of good fight scenes, dialogue is pretty nice, and the premise is very epic. Very epic. Now, I forgot to throw down what's happening on Earth. All the villains are actually uniting, and the OMACs are going crazy and killing people. That is adding the big crisis element. What Alexander Luthor is doing is big, but not many people know it's happening. Now, like I said, Infinite Crisis can be very intimidating, but if you go into it with the right tools, and you know the basic premise, then you should be fine. What I suggest is, if you watch this review, obviously you get my opinions or you get my lowdown on the story, but I suggest you go and you read a general synopsis of the story without reading the ending on any kind of review, or go to eBay or Amazon where they give the product review. People will put down a basic story. Because this is actually a really good story. A lot of people knock it, but I found it to be very, very entertaining. Maybe that's just me, but I like to think that as comic book fans, sometimes we read so much that we get our heads so far up our ass that we just don't sit down and enjoy anything that is just good. I mean, it has to be fantastic or have deep meaning or a special message thrown in there to make it good. But in general, we just don't sit down and enjoy good stuff because we have our heads up our asses. If you just sit down and enjoy the comic for what it's worth, you'll find it's a good comic. It's entertaining. So I suggest picking up the Infinite Crisis. However, I suggest reading the Crisis of Infinite Earth first, which I will review sometime, and read the OMAC Project, which I will review sometime later. And any other of the prequels if you have the money. With that said, this is Skylynx. Pick this up. You will enjoy it. And I'm going to say peace out for now.